You ain't gonna never get free as long as you think like a slave. Follow a slave's mentality, you get a slave's reward. If you don't recognize your Stockholm syndrome by identifying with the enemy, by cutting down the people, the very people that's coming to give you a hand and lift you up, but they ain't doing nothing because they ain't doing what you think they should be doing. You don't even understand the fight you in from a spiritual aspect, and you trying to tell somebody else how to fight.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know you still a goddamn slave, and you worried about what somebody else didn't do. I'm not an Al Sharpton fan, but he did most of these finger pointing Negroes. Even if he did sell out, he still did more. At least he tried before he failed. You understand what I'm saying? At least he tried before he failed.
With you saying that, Rod, I see you posted Dr. Malachi York on your
Yes, sir.
Instagram. What's your thoughts? You know, because he's real controversial. A lot of people say he did some crazy shit.
Yeah, so let's go over the crazy shit. Since we
Yeah,
dealing with the slander of the
yeah.
leadership,
Mm-hmm.
this is why we ain't got no effective leaders, because we got too many people criticizing with no facts. So they accuse him of touching these kids. So they say they're going to link him to all of the cases through a genetically traceable strain of herpes. The problem is that Malachi don't have herpes, never had herpes, and he's been going to the doctors for an annual visit, which included a full STD span since the 70s. So he only had herpes long enough to get a herpes to these kids, and then turned around and went to prison and got rid of the herpes. Since they've been testing him in there, he still don't got herpes. Make it make sense. If you don't understand the intricacies and the details, keep your mouth shut till you get the receipt. You can't have herpes for 3 years and don't got it no more. Or you can't have it only when the victims come up, but every time you go to the doctor, it's not there. Herpes is traceable. It's traceable by genetics. They use it to confirm sexual predators on a regular basis. So this in and of itself tell you he was falsely accused, let alone all of the accusers was paid emolument by the government to sell him out. So if you don't know the intricacies of the case, then you shouldn't speak on it. We always speak on something we don't know about. That's one of the problems that's keeping us divided, conquered, and subjugated.
Mm-hmm.
Stop speaking on what you don't know about. Read the case. Read the case files. Read the rebuttal. They didn't have jurisdiction of original origin. They could have dismissed the case on jurisdiction alone, but they was determined to override the law in order to misapply the law. They had to bend the law to make it fit his case. They had to create a crime in order to accuse him of it. It's the same thing they did to Jeff Ford and Larry Hoover. They doing the crime. They accusing our leadership of the crime while they in the commission of the act. They doing it. They got caught. So they accusing them of being drug dealers. You can't get that quantity of drugs. If you're making more than a couple $1,000s, couple $100,000 selling drugs, you're working with the feds, knowingly or unknowingly. When somebody bringing tons of drugs over here and you are responsible to try to hold your community together from behind bars, the best you can do is manage it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't stop it because you ain't out there to put the strategies in play, and the ones out here don't have the leadership capability, or else you wouldn't need motherfuckers to be oppressed in prison to keep the effectiveness from the community. They didn't kill Fred Hampton because his skin color alone. They killed him because how he was able to communicate across the skin color barrier, the religion barrier, and his ability to unite people. They was more scared of that, right, than they was of just him because he was one of us. That leadership, you got to stop letting them kill our leaders. All they leaders is pedophiles and blood drinkers,
Mm-hmm.
And we letting their leaders tear our leaders down using the media that they control. With court systems that they using to implement martial law on the land. They don't have what you call proper jurisdiction to begin with. Everything outside DC is under tribal rule, tribal law, the law of the land, oral tradition, right? So when they imposing their written laws on us, they overstepping their jurisdiction, they overstepping their boundaries. But we so busy helping them to tear our leadership down, and then we wonder why don't nobody want to step up and help us, right? We the baddest people on the planet, so busy tearing each other down that we can't even help ourselves, right? Because we following the script that the enemy brought. Go back to your own culture, go back to your own ways, and then we won't be falling for the banana in the tailpipe, right? H. Rap Brown, they had charged him, gave him life or so many years for shooting the police. If you watch the trial, pull his trial up on court TV and watch that shit and tell me you can actually believe this man is guilty, right? But what we do, they got his ass. Lucky it wasn't me. We laugh at the leaders that fall, but won't none of them, the one that's doing all of the laughing, step up and do nothing about the condition. They talking about reparations. I'm telling them we got something bigger than reparations. That's pocket change. They got you focused on reparations so you won't never realize you don't need it if you get the imposters off the land. But they got us in fighting about reparations. Reparations is easy. It's a formula to get reparations. We don't match the formula is the reason we not getting reparations.
Well, what's the formula?
First of all, you got to have a central government. See, when they paid the Japanese, they had a government in the nations that represented them. We don't got that because we surrendered it when we accepted the settlers' government as our government. You forfeit your right then. So you ain't gonna never get reparations because you can't even identify the correct homeland to start setting up the governmental structure with a centralized leadership that can lobby for you on the world stage because you're too busy laughing at your leaders when they fall and the enemy cutting them down left and right. He telling you he cutting them down. He publishing it in his books. He putting it on his news screen and you going along to get along. Right? So we watching the Iran-Contra scandal play out. How they deceived Ricky Ross, and so they didn't deceive him into selling drugs to get money. They deceived him to the fact that they was the feds. That's called entrapment. They ain't supposed to do that. And if it's discovered they did, that's supposed to automatically vindicate him by something called qualified immunity. So when you sitting here watching the government do all the dirt, but you letting them cut down your own leadership, you become just as much a part of the problem as the oppressor. You're on the same playing field, on the same side of the field now. You sold out without ever getting a dime for it. Because the gossip is free. So you sold out without getting nothing for your gossip. Spreading your opinions that serve no ends to the resolution to the condition. I ain't want no parts of this shit. Because when I went to them, they all told me I didn't know nothing. So since I don't know nothing, y'all figure it out. And then I heard Farrakhan on the speech saying that he needs some help. Nigga, here go to help. Y'all didn't shut the door on me before. Shut it again, I won't be back. I didn't study these motherfuckers from asshole to appetite. I know exactly how they move. I know what they do. I know they don't match us. The ones that's organic to this land over here, they call America. I don't care what they want to call us. We wasn't called none of that shit before they came. It ain't part of our culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's repugnant to the conscious mind to accept being called black, Negroes, Moors. It's repugnant to the conscious mind that's truly conscious. Before 1492, we wasn't over here talking about no Moors or no Morocco.
So you don't get with the whole Nomu Drew Ali, the whole
Noble
Moorish
Drew Ali is a
paradigm?
different story. Because he the one told me to study them motherfuckers. Because he said get a good Moorish education. But he made it clear you understand he was the Cherokee High Chief on the land. And
He
that
was.
he knew there was somebody on the land who don't belong here. That's then usurped the government from the people of the land.
Mm-hmm.
But in international law, it's always something called a redemption process to reclaim anything that was stolen from you at the Jubilee. This the Jubilee. We reclaiming our shit.
Mm-hmm.
Our people just got to wake up to the fact that when we say free Larry Hoover, it's because he is the spokesperson for the chiefs across the land.
Mm-hmm.
It don't got nothing to do with, okay, so they say he was a gang chief. So they had warlords as the president, despots, pedophiles, rapists, boy molesters as the president. So I'd rather have a gang chief for a leader than have all that slimy ass shit on my hands.
If he was the chief and where our culture is matriarchal, who's Big Mama overlooking Larry Hoover? Who you know what I'm
Um,
saying?
Khadijah Muhammad.
Who's that? I'm not sure who that
Khadijah
is.
Muhammad is Minister Farrakhan's wife. She is indigenous to the land.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, she have the most matriarchs under her direct command as the MGTGCC.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right, and then when you take the affiliation of the Moorish Women's Consulate, but she automatically becomes heir to that on the Islamic connection. So now she didn't took over all they shit by supporting her husband
Hmm.
because she got the birthright to the land to draw the matriarchs together, right? And when you draw the matriarchs together, the men have to clear the way. So this is why when you hear about the Orisha, you hearing about the Ogun and the Oshun and the
Mm-hmm.
Legba. You seeing them swinging them fucking blades, the openers of the way, clearers of the path. High John the Conqueror, Low John the Conqueror. This is what they talking about. The chiefs on the land had this obligation to our women to
Right. Okay.
restore our prominence by unifying our people at the grassroots level to individually, in their own individual capacity, affirm their organic rights to the land by saying
Mm-hmm.
enough is enough.
Mm-hmm.
They have to produce Hoover because his job as the law of the land is to speak for the round table of all of the chiefs across the land.
Mm-hmm.
The leadership is not the problem. They are united. They waiting on the clans to wake up to realize we've been in a long, drawn out, protracted struggle for freedom and liberation, and now it's time for us to stand up and take it. And we tucking our tail between our legs and we pointing our fingers at everybody, but we ain't looking at ourselves, which brings us to the shadow work part of the video.
Yes. Very important. Please explain what is shadow work and how do we do it, my brother?
Shadow work is you directly addressing those negative traits and characteristics that you don't even want to accept the fact are in your character,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, um, anything that's repugnant to you and somebody else, make sure you're not the one doing it. If gossip is what you use as your tool to judge a good person, and you a gossiping motherfucker, then you ain't did your shadow work,
You projecting? You're saying you
right?
projecting? Right.
So you so busy judging everybody else, you ain't even took time to do the critical analysis of the self. The critical analysis of the self allows you the opportunity to grow from a mortal to immortal self.
Mm.
Right? This is why they call it the dark night of the soul when you're really doing the shadow work.
Dark night of the soul.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
because you go through all of the purging of those negative traits, and you also cleaning up your family tree when you do it,
Mm. Important. Very important.
right? Because while you correcting the error in you, your good ancestors is telling the ancestor that was influencing you in that energy, sit your ass down and let the baby do his work,
Mm.
right? And sometimes they
Interesting.
got to fight up there, as
Mm.
above, so below,
You're talking about the astral
right?
realm.
Spirit
Mm.
realm,
Sure. Yeah.
right? So we still connected to them spiritually. We just not they not here physically present,
Mm.
but they influence reside in the code that's written in our DNA.
Mm.
Where our weaknesses is where we need to make the correction to get rid of the weaker ancestral trait in order to produce a higher ancestral projection into the future, right? So it's a game of relay. Everybody get a chance to work on themselves so that they can make a better way for the generation to come. That's our job across the land.
It's a game. I love that. I love that analogy. A game of relay. Okay. Excellent, brother. Okay.
Right. So we the elders now. So they told me, get your old ass up there and tell them. I said, I don't want to tell them. They said, why you don't want to tell them? I said, because Farrakhan told them, Elijah told them, Malcolm told them,
uh,
Martin told them, all the way back to Denmark Vesey told them, Prince Hall told them, Garvey told them, and they still didn't listen. What the fuck make you think they're going to listen to me?
and what they said.
You ain't going to never know till you try.
Mm.
You don't never know till you try. If you don't like the way the world is, do something about it, right? So
Yeah.
I didn't like the world was, but I still wasn't gonna do nothing about it. I just wasn't gonna bring no progeny into this motherfucker. The side effect was I accidentally, well, it was I deliberately brought a child into this world. Now I'm obligated to change it so that my son's
Mm.
future is better than my past.
Right.
Right? So when he get to be the elder, he should not be working on racism,
That's facts.
sexism,
Yeah.
confused genders,
Yes.
right? Broken homes. That shouldn't be his job, right? So since I'm here, right? Since I offered up the solution by restoring us, telling us to just return back to our organic ways, demand they produce the chief, right? So on the 22nd, we had a cyber parade, right? And the cyber parade was designed to interfere with the algorithms to fuck up the economic system. Because the economic system now is down to relying on the algorithm of the advertising dollar because the markets have been strangled, right? So this is
Mhm.
why on the 23rd the market started dropping, right? All this is related.
You know, Rod, I heard you describe yourself in previous videos as I don't if I misquote you, let me know, as a Native American witch doctor.
Yep.
So could you explain to the people what exactly do you mean by Native American witch doctor? What does that entail, my brother? People are very curious about who you are.
Okay, so in the Christian world, they got preachers and reverends,
Mm-hmm.
right? I ain't no Christian.
Mm-hmm.
In the Islamic world, they have imams and sheikhs. I ain't in the Islamic world. In the Hebrews, they have rabbis and kohanes. I ain't no Hebrew. I'm an organic indigenous person to this land, and I follow the religious practice or the spiritual practice of my ancestors, which is tuning ourselves into nature in order to solve the problems of humanity by offering up the insight of the priest. The priest in the organic sense is a witch doctor or a wise doctor, right? But he's not a medical doctor that poison you with pills. He teaches you how to live in harmony with nature and use nature as your first source to cure your ails. By properly taking care of your connection with nature, it involves how you eat, how you breathe, and how you sleep, right? So when you in tune with nature, then you can have a life that's pretty much as long as you choose to be here.
Facts, definitely, definitely. All right. Let's before we continue, family, I want to thank everybody. We're about at the half an hour mark. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We got about 1,200 people in here. I want all of y'all, please make sure you hit the like button. Very important that we when we in here deep like this, we hit the like button and we continue to grow and more people continue to discover this information, because this information that the brother Rod Hayes is dropping is very important. It's not just what he's saying, it's how he say it. And that is vital when a person comes with this invisible energy force that we feel, but we don't know how to describe. And I think this brother's gifted with that gift right there. So yeah, make sure you hit the like button, family. I want to ask you about the date that just passed. So how important was it? Like
It
the
was the Pluto return.
yeah, for this
Right,
country. Yeah.
right. So it not only did it fall on the Pluto return fall on the 22nd, that's also was President's Day. That also was George Washington's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So all these things are it's called a convergence.
Mm-hmm.
So you imagine streams of energy coming in from different places, putting all of the pressure at a central point. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we call that an opening of a portal. Numeral it's significant in numerology, it's
Mm-hmm.
significant in astrology, and then it becomes twice as significant on Earth.
Mm.
Right.
Twice. Okay.
So this is why we chose that for the cyber parade to ride that energy to try to get as many of our people to understand that this COINTELPRO operation to shut our people down is unsuccessful. That shit not working no more. We know what they done and it's recorded and they wrote it down, right? So COINTELPRO is not a myth or a conspiracy theory. It is a government confessed operation to interrupt us, the organic people of the land who they don't want to come together in unity and stand up in their individual capacity to say, hey, tell Larry to come out here and tell us what the hell going on and who is this puppet on the land, because that's his job. Not his job because he was elected into Congress and the Senate. His job because the collection of chiefs say whenever one of our soldiers figure it out, that's the chairman. He gonna
Mm.
have to tell the story now. So when I come and tell you the story of what happened, and I tell you we were invaded by some people called conquistadors.
Mm-hmm.
They killed off the chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
The slaughter began the day after Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving was the day of the turkey, which was a festival, a harvest festival in honor of the chief of the local clans. The the turkey feathers, tails feathers in full spread represent the feathers around the heads of the chief,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
they don't tell you that part. Black Friday, the result was because they gave them fire water and turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all know turkey has an amino acid called tryptophan that puts you to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Why on Thanksgiving, after we go to grandma's house and eat, we all laying around talking and half the room sleep,
Mm-hmm.
right? We tryptophan intoxicated. They try to keep us awake with a football game,
Mm-hmm.
sporting event, keep us moving around so we don't fall asleep,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So it's all psychology, sociology applied to military strategy,
Mm.
right? The United States has never been bigger than the 10 square miles called Washington, D.C. It was always a private corporation doing business on Indian land,
Mm.
they call it. We call it Big Mama land.
Big
Right?
Mama
It's the
Land.
physical expression of living on Big Mama. It's the all of the daughters bringing a baby to get blessed by Big Mama, the earth.
Mm.
It's the earth blessings. It's called earth rights. They villainized it and called it voodoo
Mm.
and said voodoo is evil,
Mm.
right? And we fall for that because we don't know better. When you know better, you obligated to do better,
Mm.
right? So My mama told me that, so she holding me to it. Right? So what everybody else before me was asked to do, they didn't get done. I did the dirty work, the cleanup man shit.
Right, right, right.
I dived out of bounds to grab the ball before it go out of bounds. Right? Slid across the baseball field to catch the pop fly that's barely about to make it.
Mm,
Right? All of the stuff, the dirty work on the team that nobody, the cleanup man, with the part nobody else want to do.
mm.
The Dennis Rodman work.
The Dennis Rodman work. Okay.
You know,
Now we understand the Dennis Rodman work. R- You, yeah, pardon us, family, while Rod gets his situation together. A little technical difficulties happening. It's all right, that happens, and we get it together as soon as we can. I want to continue to thank y'all for viewing this broadcast Saturday night. Make sure you hit the like button, family. This is so important for us to know. You can feel it in the air. You can feel it in the ether. You can feel it in your body, the fabric of your body. The change is happening. The shows that I'm doing, I know y'all feel them more than y'all have in the past. This is amazing what we're doing now, family. It's going down right now. It's going down, family. It's going down. Here go the brother right here. Peace, peace.
yeah.
All right, we back now. We back.
There somebody had called in. I thought I had my do not disturb on. That's why I was trying to use the other phone.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Do you remember where you left off, or
The Dennis Rodman dirty work.
the dirty work? Yes.
Yeah. That's the stuff don't nobody want to do. Don't the guy that cleaned up the horse shit after the races, don't nobody give him no accolades.
Facts. Facts.
He don't get no awards, no plaques.
Facts.
He just get to go home smelling like horse shit.
Mm.
He don't complain long as it can help him take care of his wife and his kids. He show up bright and early the next morning just like he was the jockey. He might even beat them there.
Mm.
They the ones get all of the shine at the Kentucky Derby. They don't never call a stable hand out there and raise his hands and thank him for cleaning up the horse shit. But it
Mm.
still has to be done to keep a clean stable.
Mm.
Somebody got to clean up the horse shit.
Mm.
Somebody got to do the part that all the rest of us don't want to do because it's the hard part,
Mm.
right? So this is our life training. The hardest head get the hardest lesson.
Mm.
The hardest lesson become the most memorable experience.
Mm.
Once you know, you can't unknow.
Yes, sir.
To experience it for yourself, be able to relay a convincing story that's based in truth, right? So when they put a job in front of me, Larry Hoover said we gang banging. He'd be brain banging. He said we ain't gang banging. He said let the fools gang bang. We need somebody to buckle down in the books, right? We need somebody to study the problem from the outside. You can't get tatted up. You can't get GD put all on your arms and shit. You can't do that. You stay unidentified, folks. A UFO. Fly right under the radar and keep studying.
Mm.
Walk right through the valley of death, the penitentiary struggle,
Mm.
but keep studying, right? Then when you get out and you finish your parole and you working in the real job, keep studying. Use everything they use to oppress us as the means of the come up. So if I gave them an hour in work, I got me 2 hours of study in on their computer system. You understand me? They're not gonna get more of my time than I'm gonna get,
Mm.
and they're not gonna pay me enough ever to give me what I think I'm worth because they not worth what I think I'm worth.
Mm.
Right? So now they got Rain Man trying to solve a math problem. That's the right guy for it. Slightly autistic, a little bit quirky and weird, but he know how to do the math. Right? He the one don't nobody want around because when he come in, he nut up when shit
Mm.
not right, and
Mm.
everybody is comfortable with the shit not being right. So then I'm the one ain't supposed to say nothing because I know what I'm talking about, and I might infect somebody else with some shit called the truth.
Right, right.
Now that's the most offensive thing you can tell somebody, because if you tell them the truth and it's not the truth they want to hear, you become their sworn enemy. And you ain't done nothing wrong but told the truth. Cause now they held to, they not mad that you told them the truth. They mad because the truth came from you. They
Right.
didn't get it first,
They didn't get it. Yeah.
right? But they didn't do the work to get them to the part where they can understand the problem sufficient enough to do the math. Because they was too busy accusing everybody else and not doing nothing while they wasn't doing nothing. Calling everybody hypocrites and sellouts and they don't know nothing about them. We can have an opinion about everybody we see in the public, but we don't know them people. We don't know none of them people. We ain't never met them. 98% of us ain't never met them face to face. Right? They saying Larry a gangbanger. Got more degrees than anybody in motherfucking DC. Right? But ain't none of us took the time to write him a letter to find out his point of view, his angle, his perspective. Right? They told us Chief Malik Angel Bay, aka Jeff Ford, was about to commit acts of terrorism on our land, on domestic soil. They called him a domestic terrorist. And then after that, you know what these son bitches did? They
What?
blew up the World Trade Center the first time in 91 and blamed it on the Arabs. Then they blew up the federal building in Oklahoma
And blamed it
and
on
blamed it on the good old boy
Timothy McVeigh.
and Terry Nichols. Right? Then they fucking flew planes into the building in 9/11, told us that some motherfuckers overseas done it. And then when the FBI report come out, the FBI files come out, coming to find out it was Dick Cheney and George Bush behind it the whole time. The whole time. So that they could have an excuse to kill Saddam Hussein because he put a hit on George Bush in 92. Look this shit up. It's some real shit. He put a hit out on George Herbert Walker Bush after he left office. I think it was 92, 93. Right? And his retaliation, because he didn't have nothing he could do as a president of renown because he was a babbling idiot. Right? We call him G Dummy.
Yeah.
Right? So he want to get back at Saddam. He's trying to figure out a way to fight a war with Saddam Hussein. Okay, now he got oil interests because you know they've been in the oil business, the Prescott side of the family, since the early 1900s, late 1800s. They also international banking family, the Prescott family, right? So when you get down to the Bushes, who became Bushes under a marriage union, right? These motherfuckers turn around and finance the whole Bin Laden thing. We forget. You can look this up. The Mujahideen was funded by the CIA, and the Mujahideen was created by the CIA to defend Afghanistan's northern border from Russia. Right? CIA. The CIA went and extracted Saddam Hussein after assassination attempt on the Iraqi head of state. He was in exile. They put him back in the royal house so that he could have my man assassinated, and he took over the government in what they call an in-house coup. And the CIA funded it and designed it all. Look it up. Ain't none of this shit a secret, right? So now, Ronald Reagan getting ready to take office, so they fly a plane into the Nevada desert and tell us our people got kidnapped by Iranians. We didn't find out until the 90s that that was a movie set in Nevada. That they end up using the very same footage from the movie set to make the movie about the hostages in Iran and put that shit in our face like we some real idiots, because we some real idiots. We not gonna never pay that no attention. Ain't none of us looking at that, right? So once they make the deal, Now they trying to get drugs into our community. You got to keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
If you read Behold the Pale Horse, he'll tell you naval intelligence, above top secret, read the documents, telling you the format of the Bush family to bring the cocaine in on the oil rigs so they don't get searched. Because the oil rigs was diplomatic property and they were exempt from search,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So they family is an oil family. Here we go back to the Saudi ties,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so what do? They make these connections all to oppress us and keep us from ever realizing who the fuck we is.
Mm-hmm.
So they undermine our leadership. Everything they doing, they accusing our leaders of doing it. They accusing our entertainers of doing the things that they entertainers is doing, right? So that we can all look the same dirty. It's okay because it's gonna come out,
Mm-hmm.
right? Some of us had to go in soldiers undercover,
Mm-hmm.
like Lawrence Fishburne on Deep Cover,
Mm-hmm.
right? In order to figure out what's going on our land. This our shit. Been our shit for millennia,
Mm-hmm.
right? Noble Drew Ali said time never was when man was not,
Mm-hmm.
right? What is he talking about? We was before they construct the time used to trap our minds. We were roaming this land before their construct of time was used to trap our minds.
What do you think about a lot of people say a lot, the ancient Egyptians was over here and that's why we have places like
Look,
Memphis
look,
and
look,
stuff
look,
and
look.
they hold up, bro, and they even say the pyramids, the Grand Canyon got a lot of ancient Egyptian shit in it, and that's why they closed it off to the majority of the public. But the Grand Canyon got a lot of ancient Egyptian shit. Brother Rod, talk to me about the ancient Egyptian influence on America.
There is no ancient Egyptian influence on
Mm,
America,
mm.
but there is 100% an ancient American
American influence on
influence
Egypt.
on Egypt.
Okay, you gotta explain that, brother.
Quetzalcoatl is Thoth. Thoth created Egypt.
Yes,
Period.
yes.
Quetzalcoatl is from South America,
Mm,
and Quetzalcoatl is Thoth. Thoth created Egypt.
mm.
Egypt back then was nothing more than Hollywood. That's it.
In ancient times, you say.
In ancient times, it was Hollywood, right?
Mm.
We used to leave Arizona
Yes. Uh-huh.
through a energy gate created by Thoth and walk straight to Egypt in 10 seconds.
The fuck out of here. Woo!
It's still there.
With Sedona?
It's still there down in the mountains in the Arizona
Damn.
desert. You
Wow.
ain't when you start getting close, you start getting interfered with by people in black suits,
Mm.
wanting to know what the fuck you doing over there.
Damn. You said Egypt is nothing but Hollywood. And wow. Okay.
The
I haven't
real shit,
heard.
the
Yeah.
real shit was over here,
It's over here.
right?
Mm.
This is where all the real juice was. This is where Big Mama house was here.
So the juice wasn't. Africa is supposed to be Big
Look,
Mama's house. That's
the
where the
juice
natural
is over
resources
here.
are.
Look,
Yeah.
the juice is over here,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
They don't call this the promised land for no reason, and they don't call it God's country for no reason. That's
Mm.
not an accident, and that's not Christian,
Mm. Mm.
right? The Christians want you to believe, and the Jews and the Muslims want you to believe the Middle East is the
Is
spot.
right. 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 Right.
That's
Right.
some bullshit.
Mm.
Because this was the spot before the Middle East even knew what Abraham could spell like.
Mm.
They ain't had no alphabets over there in the Middle East when this was the shit. Right? They got us believing that all our castles is prisons.
Mm.
Because they don't want us to know we got castles all over the land.
Mm.
We got pyramids and mounds for religious, well, spiritual retreats all over the land. You go on a spiritual retreat to tune in to nature, you create the mounds in order to harness the energy
Yes.
right? And what you build the mound is determining what you harness the energy, and you normally form the shape of the mound, right, according to the energy you trying to harness. That's why some of them shaped like a snake,
You
some
know,
shaped like an elephant, all different kind of stuff.
I want you to expound on this because what you said was interesting. I just had a brother Turtle Gang on here who said something similar about how, you know, our culture influenced Egypt instead of Egypt influencing our culture. Um, I want to talk about Stone Mountain. Now I heard a brother that's a metaphysical teacher in the community for many years named Bobby Hemming. I don't know if you ever heard of him,
I know he is.
but yeah, brother Bobby said that the black granite from Stone Mountain, they took that black granite in Georgia, in Atlanta, Georgia, in Stone Mountain, and they put that on a capstone of the Great Pyramids. So he was talking about how important this
Stone
land is
Mountain
over
was a
here.
pyramid.
Right. But okay, so expound on Stone Mountain. Did they take because
Look,
I
Stone
yeah.
Mountain was an actual black pyramid,
hmm
right? So the movie play calls it the Dark Tower.
What movie? What movie?
Dark Tower.
That's the movie. Okay, I didn't see that movie. The movie's called Dark Tower.
Right. It's
Okay.
about a giant dark crystal shooting out the earth at the center.
Hoo-hoo-hoo. So Stone Mountain's the center of the earth? What are you saying?
It's not the center of the earth, but that's what the movie about.
Okay,
But
okay.
Stone Mountain is a black pyramid similar to that. It's also one in Alaska.
In Alaska. Okay.
So, excuse me.
Okay, no
These
problem.
pyramids all over the place. They all got different properties according to the energy you want to harness.
hmm
It's like in one thing you need gas for power, another thing you need electrical
Exactly.
power,
Yeah.
right? Some stuff you use water for power,
hmm
right? So some things you use coal for power. You use
hmm
different stuff. It's just like different crystals have different properties,
hmm
right? So the
Facts.
stone that Stone Mountain is organically made of. It's formed into a actual crystalline structure. It's a
hmm
pyramid.
hmm
It's one of the older ones because the oldest ones grow forests on them and they call them mountains.
Mm, mm,
But after
mm,
sitting for so long unused, they get covered with soot. The soot turns to dirt.
mm.
Then vegetation gonna naturally spring from the dirt. It's the
Yeah.
law of nature.
Uh-huh.
This just
That's
like the Great Pyramid of China, right? Pull up Black Pyramid of Alaska,
okay. Give me 1 second. You keep talking. I'm gonna pull it up. Right.
right? So when you understand that we was here, the mission is follow the biblical code. The biblical code is a supplanter code. What is a supplanter? It's an underminer. Who is the supplanter? Jacob. Who did he supplant? Esau. What's the description of Esau? He was ruddy red and hairy. The red man is who? The red man of the Americas. The ruddy red man is dark ass red. That's
Mm-hmm.
why they put ruddy in front of it instead of just red. One.
Mm. So this is in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
So what's up? What's the science on this right here, Rod? What's this? What's going on with this right here?
That's a, we had to stop using that one because they opened a portal Stargate. The Stargate portal was part of a 3-point flux on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It went from this pyramid system
Mm-hmm.
to La Palma to southwestern Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And in that's how the enemy was able to escape the last great cleanup to get
Mm.
wicked off of Earth. So when you read in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, he said that the Dark Brothers had escaped. When he got rid of them the first time, they was able to be called back in by their priests of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Empathic and we don't know how to move shit out there no more because we too low vibrational and they made us stop. And if you think about it, that's why they always showing just the hand and this with the third eye, this with the crown. that ain't nothing but third dimension shit. You're gonna stay right here, and you're gonna only be able to stay in the struggle, and you ain't gonna be able to really see what's going on. But when you move yourself, this is why Spirit had me getting what they now call like Tibetan Reiki, and I travel and get your ass out of America, go to China, go to India, go to other places, because number one, you didn't live there some before, and you will see, and you will, when you touch the ground of some of these places, your Akashic records go out. That's better than any, I don't care, ceremony anybody can ever give you. Is you put your feet on the ground in some of these locations, your Akashic records will come back to you in a minute.
You know, when you said that, it made me think about Dr. NEGPIFOR. The Counter-Racism Guide, United Independent Compensatory Code System for Breaking the Chains of White Supremacy that he wrote. Frances Cress Welsing quoted him in ISIS papers when she say, if you don't understand white supremacy, everything you think you understand confuses you. He said that he was deployed. I think he said he was in Japan. Sitting on the mountain, and the answers came to him, and that's what he decided to write the book. Right? The book is a must for everybody should have one. I don't care what your background is, because it's telling you how to be constructively defiant to the adverse system in order to break free from the psychological enslavement. Once you break free from the psychological enslavement, he gonna give you 9 areas of people activity. In health, I add as the common denominator to all 9, because without health, though, none of the rest of them matter. You can't do nothing about it.
You have all the money in the world, but if you ain't healthy, and speaking of that, that's part of the Virgo energy too. Virgo rules health, so this is a very big season. When I say years, more than just this year, it's a very big season of taking care of your physical avatar and mind, body, spirit, soul, but your physical body, your health. So if you ain't doing it, it's gonna come on you, right? So it's all astrology. I don't care whether you believe it or not. It's all